The key thing that people want is to be treated with dignity and treated with respect, and to be listened to feel they have a voice, and that what they are saying is heard and is acted upon.
Starved of funding and facing ever-increasing demand, local authorities up and down the country have been cutting back services. Nearly 3/4 now only provide help to those with the highest care needs, and the quality of those services are often woefully inadequate. Older people who need help with everyday tasks such as getting dressed, getting out of bed, eating, washing and going to the toilet are forced to struggle on alone or rely on their relatives for support. Our ageing population will place further strain on the system in the years ahead. On current trends, the government has estimated that there will be a £6 billion funding shortfall by 2020, and that's just to keep the current system limping along.
That a taxpayer-funded universal care system is exactly what the public want. The government has ruled it out because they say it's too expensive and that taxpayers won't pay for it. I'm summarising, of course. But in one sense, this is absolute nonsense, because people will have to pay for it. Whether you pay directly to a service provider out of your own pocket, or you pay into a system of taxation, you are still paying for it. The question is really whether they pay individually, or whether we pay collectively as a society, thereby spreading the risk of the need for social care.
Yeah, we've actually drawn up a short list of things that we're going to pester the council and the health authority and anyone else we can and try and get something done. Because they too, these little things, these too also represent marginalisation for older people and the loss of opportunity. In themselves, they may not sound hugely significant, but if you're in your 80s and not very mobile and your sight's getting poor, then some of these things do matter. First of all, let me start off with a nice little one. Public seating. There isn't much public seating in Brighton. Loos also close at dusk. They're locked at dusk. Now, I mentioned earlier that Brighton is a lively place for young people. It's got a very vibrant, that's the word they use, vibrant nighttime economy. Some of the 8 million people who come to Brighton every summer season will be in the bars and the clubs and having a meal. A lot of them will be on the beach having a few beers. At 2 or 3 in the morning, when people start to go home, an awful lot of them want to use a loo, and they're closed. I leave it to you to imagine what they might do. But it does mean that lots of areas near the beach and near the bus station and near the railway station are not very salubrious. But more importantly for the older people, it means that they can't so easily go out of an evening to the theatre or for a drink or to meet their friends, because older people tend to need to use a loo more.
What we've been hearing about today gives us a challenge for all of us standing as local councillors in terms of what can we do. The toilets issue, I know people laugh, but this was a really big issue for us in the GLA elections in London as well. You know, and that, again, this is the humiliation, that you don't risk going out because you don't want to be caught short. You don't want to be embarrassed in that way. And that this isn't something which simply applies to older people. It's a general social thing. One of the things, of course, as Greens that we're going to need to add, which I always think is a slight tension with this, is also in terms of climate change, of course, access to clean water supplies in public as well, so that you have drinking fountains readily available and so on as well to the public. But so much of the issues about the way in which we design out possibilities for people who maybe are less active, maybe see less well or whatever, we really need to be taking that into account if we want our societies to be open, to be equal and to be accessible. Thank you.